Hello, this is John Ruggiero. This is more the theological basis of a lot of the things we do with the good person track. When we go through on the good person track and go through the Ten Commandments and have the person realize what sins that they have committed, the first bad news we give them is the wages of sin is death. Anytime you sin, death is either in your life or is coming. And we define death as loss of relationships, dreams, goals, and opportunities. Anytime you sin, you lose something. There's an interesting verse in James that says, but one is tempted by his own desire, being allured and enticed by it. Then when the desire has conceived, it gives birth to sin. And as sin, when it's finally grown, gives birth to death. Many times, or sometimes, the death from sin isn't immediate. Let's say a husband has multiple affairs on his wife, and his wife leaves him. That's pretty immediate. There's a loss of the relationship with his wife. The wife has left. So sometimes death from sin or loss from sin comes fairly quickly. Other times it takes time for that death to grow, the death from sin to grow, and finally show itself. As an example, let's say a father has 3 little girls. They always want his attention. They always want to be with them, but he always puts them off. He always ignores them. There's always something more important to him than spending time with his little girls. This goes on for years and years. And then when they're grown and they graduate from college and he realizes what wonderful woman they are and wants to have a relationship with them, they want nothing to do with them. It took time for that death to grow up and result in the loss of relationship with his daughters. So sometimes it takes time for the death of sin to show up. But God cannot be mocked. God cannot be ignored. Death from sin will always show up, and it will show up in your life, and you will lose something. And many times what you lose is valuable and irreplaceable. There's a really interesting verse in John 12, verse 32 to 33. And I, talking about Jesus, and I, when I am lifted up from the earth, will draw all people to myself. And he said this to indicate the kind of death he was to die. Talking about crucifixion. So he's saying when Jesus is lifted up, when he is crucified, he will draw all men, all people unto him. Now, anytime the Bible uses all, it's all without exception, or all without distinction. All without exception. There's no exception to whatever it's talking about. All that exception is everybody, all without the distinction is everyone in a certain category it will apply to. So all that exception applies to everybody, no matter what the conditions. All that distinction is everyone in that category that they're talking about. Everyone in that category, that's the all, that whatever the verse is applying to. So the question is this without exception, this all here, that all people will be drawn to Jesus because of the crucifixion, or all that exception, all without distinction? Now, this verse is referring to another time this verse is used, and this is in John 3, 14 to 15. And it states, just as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, so must the Son of Man be lifted up, that whosoever believes in him may have eternal life. So again, talking about the crucifixion, but here referring to the time of Moses. And what he's referring to is in Numbers 21, 4 to 10. From Mount Hor, they sent out by the way to the Red Sea to go around the land of Edom. But the people became impatient on the way. The people spoke against God and against Moses and said, why have you brought us up out of Egypt to die in the wilderness? For there is no food or no water, and we detested miserable food. Then the Lord sent poisonous snakes, poisonous serpents among the people, and they bit the people, so that many Israelites died. The people came to Moses and said, we have sinned by speaking against the Lord and against you. Pray to the Lord to take away the serpents from us. So Moses prayed for the people, and the Lord said to Moses, make a poisonous serpent and set it on a pole. And everyone who is bitten shall look at it and live. So Moses made a serpent of bronze to put it on a pole, and whenever a serpent bit someone, the person will look at the serpent of bronze and live. So this is what Jesus was referring to about being lifted up on a pole or the crucifixion. About all people will be drawn to him. So the category of people that is talking that referred to in Moses are people who realize that they sinned, realized they've been bitten, was in pain from that bite, and knew that they were dying. So the people who have been drawn to the category of people that will be drawn to Jesus are a person who realized that they sinned, realized the pain from that sin, and that pain from that sin told them they were dying. One thing about pain is death's calling card. It's kind of like a little choo-choo chain, a little whistle. Pain tells you death is coming. So when you're in pain, it says death is coming. So their pain from being bitten by the poisonous serpents told them that they were dying. So they knew that they sinned, knew that they'd been bitten, realized they were in pain, and that pain was telling them they were going to die. Those are the people who will be drawn to Jesus. And that draw is a very powerful draw. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're hiking in the wintertime. You see a frozen lake. You figure, it's frozen, let me just go across the lake. But then you see a sign saying, no trespassing, and you see a sign, a little picture of a person falling through the ice. But to go around the lake is like 2.5 miles. I don't have time for that. I'm going to go across anyway. I'm going to disregard the sign, and I'm going to go across the lake anyway. So halfway going across the lake, guess what? You fall in. You're in pain because freezing water. You realize you're at pain, you're in hypothermia, and guess what? You're going to die. You realize, hey, I sinned. I disobeyed the clear sign of saying I shouldn't trespass. I trespassed. As a result of disobeying the sign, I'm in pain, and I'm going to die. All of a sudden, you see somebody walking across the ice towards you, trying to save you. You know, the person is risking their life to save you. So the person saves you, so you can be drawn to that person in a way that it can not come any other way. Because that person not only risks their life to save you, and again, the only reason you were there to begin with because you disobeyed the sign, you fell through the ice, felt the pain, knew that you were dying. So that's the category of people that are going to be drawn to Jesus. People who know they have sinned, realize the pain from that sin, realize the loss from that sin or death, and be drawn to Jesus to save them. That's why it's important to be able not only to realize the person is a sinner. Many times we just stop at there. When they realize they're a sinner, we kind of stop there. You need to go further. Not only that they're a sinner, but what kind of sin, whether they're a liar, thief, fornicator, blasphemer, or whatever, what kind of sinner they are, but also delve into the pain and death they have in their life as a result of their sin. Because that will draw them to Jesus in a much more powerful way than just realizing that they're a generic sinner. Thank you.